Warning, spoilies ahead.
I got it ready to rock.
Ready to rock, and it's ready to roll. It is Mazes and Monsters, and it's got Tom Hanks and the mom from Santa Claus. Ba-bum, ba-bum.
It does?
Hi, welcome to Two Guys, One Film. I'm Dylan.
And I'm Dane. And this week, our movie was Mazes and Monsters. Mazes and Monsters. And this came out in 1982. So, a few years before I was born.
If you couldn't tell.
Directed by Stephen Hillard Stern. I don't know anything else he's done. Screenplay by Rona Jaffe and Tom Lazarus. Adapted from Mazes and Monsters. I guess it was a book.
Help me, Rona. Help me write a book about this. Help me, Rona.
And that's it. Synopsis or nah? What do I mean,
let's
without
okay.
ruining the movie.
If you want to, just don't watch the episode if you haven't seen it yet. We'll stop it here, and then go watch the movie, and then. But like, basically, this is the Satanic Panic era of witchcraft, Satanry. Like, what I like to say is this movie is Christian mothers against Dungeons and Dragons.
Yes.
So basically it's to say, because like there was like a lot of this shit at the time, like, you know, like, oh, Dungeons and Dragons is evil, and like, it's like, do you even know the people? As a person who plays, as a person who is a DM, I'm not like evil and all this shit. So like,
well,
it's
that
like
and it's just like normally it's associated with like geeky kids.
Yeah,
know?
like it's always the nicest kids.
Us who are into Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
You know?
So, you know, beyond that, it's about, you know, Tom Hanks coming to this new college, upper New York, whatever, joining a new pack of kids who want him to play Mazes and Monsters, which the alliteration of Dungeons and Dragons, Mazes and Monsters, you get it. The one thing this was a TV movie.
Yeah, very, very.
You could tell
the cuts.
A lot of free music on this one. You know, like, let's find some jazz, let's find some rock and roll.
Yeah, but it was like weird, like the message of like the music and some of it was just like, you know, like being friends and like,
which is
know,
so weird because like
friends, and it's just
beginning
like,
of the movie, it's like the police and the news are at that mine saying like somebody died in there and it's because of Mazes and Monsters.
Yeah.
Cuts to like driving through New York and it's like, being a friend, it's all about friendship. It's lady folk rock singing. I'm like, this does not fit with the tone of what we just did. It kind of reminded me of like the animated like Hobbit and Return of the King, you know? It's like, going on an adventure with Mazes and Monsters, you're driving through New York with Tom Hanks. Like, it did not fit. It was very late 70s, early 80s kind of thing. But you know, you're like 30 seconds into the movie and someone immediately is like, Mazes and Monsters, like, there's the name of the movie.
Yep.
And take a shot every time someone says it.
It said a lot.
I said Mazes and Monsters a lot.
Yeah. Mazes and Monsters.
Maze Monsters.
Maze Monsters.
The kid, like, so that JJ kid who wore like a shitload of hats, I like how he shows up in like that World War I German officer hat with the spike on it. I'm like,
Yeah, I'm like, huh.
And his Mina bird, like, I don't know why he is carrying that around, because
I think
like,
he's just supposed to be like rich, eccentric
the weird one.
kid.
Oh, I'm the eccentric one. I wear different hats, and it's like, I don't know.
I don't know how to stand out.
his mom's design, like, of that room of just tile. It did look like an insane asylum,
Yeah,
which
it
I thought was
reminded me
hilarious.
of like a like early 80s like hair metal album cover.
Just have the guy in the straight jacket,
Yeah.
like,
It was just so like clean. Well, okay, so I watched the movie on YouTube and it's all grainy because it's so old
yeah,
and that's what it just reminded me of. I'm like, man, I feel like
yeah. I watched this on. It's like, folks,
it's
it's free on like Tubi, Pluto,
yeah.
Peacock. Like you can find this anywhere, and like all of them are like same quality of like
Yeah.
what we did is we recorded it from the TV on a VHS. It's the only copy we have, so we had to
Yeah.
digitize the VHS. It was the one in the world,
the
but
the only one.
yeah. So yeah, the intro is you're meeting all the kids who play Mazes and Monster and go to college. You got the girl who's like, I'll never fall in love with a man because you and Dad had a divorce. Did you miss him? She's like, for a minute, I was really angry, and then I'm fine. It's
Yeah.
like,
Now
okay,
it's cool. Whatever, I've given up on love.
yeah. And then you got the blonde, attractive kid that has his problems of like, oh, everyone thinks I'm just like so attractive and like a ladies' man, and no one knows the real me. And I'm like, yeah, so hard problems, bro.
Yeah, wow. Bummer.
Meanwhile, Tom Hanks, his brother, runs away. You have no idea if he's fucking dead or not. And he gives him money to do it. And he has like a heartfelt moment later on in the
Yeah.
movie. Is like, if I didn't give him the money, would he still be around? I'm like, oh man.
I know. Like the scenes with him, I was just like,
It's he, and it's hard because the material he has. Like,
yeah.
it's probably a fun movie, got paid, but he outacts everyone. But then I had
Yes.
to remember, oh, he's fucking Tom Hanks. Of
Yeah.
course he is.
Yeah.
He's fucking Tom Hanks, people. Like you could throw him in any movie, and you're like A plus material,
Yeah.
even in a B plus to F minus kind of a movie. But
Like, whoa, Tom
yeah,
Hanks? Yeah, I'll check it out.
yeah, like yeah, he was like great in it for like
Yeah.
the type of movie it was, like TV movie,
I
and it
think
was
I
yeah,
think if he wouldn't have been in it, it would have been a lot harder to watch.
yeah,
But I don't know. I don't know. There was something about it that I still. I don't know. I don't like. I'm seeing a 4.2 on IMDb, and
yeah.
I don't know if it deserves that low a score.
I think it was just a TV movie, so like it's not gonna be great quality, and they don't really do that anymore. They don't do TV movies,
Yeah. I think the
like
last
so
one I
it's
remember, I was probably maybe about to go into high school. Like maybe.
yeah.
Might have even been earlier than that. Like I might have been in middle school.
It's
But
just like
yeah.
you're not gonna get a movie quality,
No.
and it's not gonna be the greatest of stories, But it's like it's maybe like a new time director, and he's like, hey, I got a chance to make a fucking movie, and what am I doing? It's like Mazes and Monsters. Ah, damn it. Well, I'll work with what I got.
Yeah.
All I know is the rich blonde kid. His dad is Fox Mulder's dad from X-Files. That's all I know. I was like, hey, it's Fox Mulder's dad.
You recognize a lot more people in it than I did.
I have a problem. I just have this problem for the rest of my life, and it's a problem of quoting obscure lines from movies that nobody else will really know, and using it because it's like a tick in my head, and then noticing people from movies that it's like, I remember him from the small role on the X. It's mostly the X Files or Miami Vice. It's like those two. It's like, hey,
Well,
he was on Miami
there
Vice.
were a lot of like just random famous people that would just
So
show
like,
up.
it's great because like, it's a tangent here, folks. Miami Vice, like X Files was like the 90s version of Miami Vice, because like in Miami Vice there's all these like young stars who grew up to be bigger, and they're like these small roles, so it's like their first time acting as a Miami Vice. And it's like the same with X-Files. You have like Giovanni Ribisi, I mean he was a kid actor, I can't use that, but like Jack Black, and you got like
Yeah.
all these other people that blow up, but they're like small roles on X-Files. It's the same Miami Vice. Like fucking Phil Collins is in a couple
Oh shit.
episodes. Frank Zappa's in an episode as like a fucking drug dealer. Like Miami Vice is the shit, dude.
Cool.
But that's not this. We're talking
No.
Mazes and Monsters, not Miami Vice.
All right. So intro. We met all the kids. We find out their lame problems because they all seem to be pretty well off.
Yeah, they're
'Cause
going to
we're
this
just gonna
beautiful fucking
travel
college.
after
yeah,
I
in
get
New
done
York.
with college.
Oh,
I'm just gonna
yeah.
dick around
trying
after
to
I'm
be a-
done.
I'm trying to be a writer, and I don't want to love no man.
Yeah, I'm just gonna, cause like I wanna be able to travel. you know?
And then Tom Hanks is like, my brother's gone.
Yeah.
And I have to go to a different college that I don't really want to go to, but okay.
Because I got kicked out of the other one for playing too much Mazes and Monsters. But so I'm wondering, like, was he starting to like slip there, like into
I
that?
think I think it was always there. Like obviously he has like a psychosis, like almost
Yeah,
schizophrenia.
yeah,
Because
that's what
like
I was thinking. I'm like,
cut to people like he sees a monster. So like yeah, he's obviously dealing with trauma. He doesn't know how to deal with it. But like the guy is like literally becoming another person, seeing things others can't, and needed help a lot faster. And you guys just brush it off of like, oh no, he's just playing the game. It's like no, he's living the game. He's like,
yeah,
we need to get him
really
help.
living it like way too hard. Like he's,
Yeah, so like we need to give him help,
you
please.
know, and
So
like it's crazy because like I did not see that. Like I don't know, like that's not what I was really expecting out of this.
oh like
Like
yeah,
the
like
movie to be that,
so
but I guess we'll just
anti
keep. I guess we'll
yeah,
just
so
keep
anti
going.
Dungeons and
Yeah,
Dragons. So like yeah, I mean like I thought it was gonna be a fun fantasy of like
that's
oh
what I
cool.
thought. Like I thought there's gonna be a cave and like the fantasy, and they're gonna end up in like the game or something, and like have to kill
Yeah,
some
I
real
thought it was just
monsters.
yeah gonna be like them having fun, and then
Yeah.
once I realized it started out with like a kid died because of mazes and monsters, I was like, please don't be a movie about anti D&D shit.
See,
Please
because
don't
the
be a
only thing
movie.
I could think of was they found like I don't know, because of the year. I thought, all right, they found a portal. They went through it. Now they're
Yeah,
in the game. You know,
that would be cool. That'd be really cool.
and then it just wasn't and is not that at all.
The ADR in this movie is great because like you know you're not gonna capture great audio the first couple times.
Yeah.
So when like Tom Hanks is having lunch in the Commons, he's like putting the plate in the tray, and they had to like make the sounds of it, so it's like way too loud and like too crisp and clean,
Yeah.
you know.
I was
And he
gonna.
reads the mazes and monsters thing, you know. The guy's like, "Hey, that's my group. You should join." And they like kind of force him to.
I know they're like, cool. Well, we'll see you there at the
You're a level
party.
9? Oh, let me bring my friends. This dude's a level 9. Well, come on over. It's like,
Like,
oh,
yeah, I
okay.
didn't really want to play. Yeah, cool. So he's joining in. Yep, he's
Yeah,
totally in. Well, I didn't really want to. Okay.
you're in, bruh. It's just like they're like fueling his addiction. Like he was a
Yeah.
recovering heroin addict. They're like, dude, you shoot up? Like, oh man, he shoots up. Let's go. Let's get
Yeah.
him over
Oh, but I
here.
haven't done it for a while. Trying to get off the stuff. Ah, dude,
You're a level
dude. Oh, come
9,
on. You're a
dude.
level 9. Let's get in on this.
I do like Tom Hanks. Just he's a fucking bold dude. He sees her at the party. He's like staring at her. She's like, "What?" He's like, "I'm sorry. You're just like so beautiful." It's like, damn, dude, just
Damn,
like out of the gate,
slick,
like, oh, I don't
smooth.
know, just so beautiful, and it works. So then they finally play, and they're surrounded by candles on books, and I'm like, that's a bad idea.
Yeah.
That's such a bad idea. Like just normal light, you know.
Normal light. And if you need to use candles, then put them on a safe spot.
Yeah, put them on like a
Put it on the
metal
table.
tray or something. Yeah, on a table and stuff like that.
Yeah, but
But
it was 82. It's fine.
yeah,
Things
you
were
know,
less dangerous back then.
yeah, you know, books weren't so flammable back then, and candles weren't so easily tipped over, you know,
Yeah,
back then.
yeah,
Candles these days are just so top heavy.
yeah. Books
Candles
are
in the
made out of
80s
that
were
flammable
real.
paper. You know, everything's
Ugh.
covered in kerosene now,
Oh man, I miss books from the 80s, bro.
right?
Yeah, like they're playing, and I don't ever see them roll dice. So I don't know if Mazes and Monsters is about rolling dice, or is it just like, oh,
No,
I have
like
these
they bust
points.
out like right in the beginning. What's his name busts out some dice. It's like
Okay.
right when they're about to play, and then it like
Because I never see them roll. They just
they
have
never
their
roll.
their
No.
minifigs, and then
Yeah.
like they say they want to do something, and the maze master is like, "No, you don't have enough points for that." He's like, "Fuck! Don't tell me what I got, dude. It's my character. I'm a wizard or a druid. What was he? A
Who?
magic man of some kind. Purdue.
Oh, he was like a holy man. He was
A
like a
holy man,
healer
that's
or
right,
something.
yeah.
He had magic
I don't use
spells.
my weapons until it's the last resort. You know.
Yeah.
Although, okay, so like he plays, he's starting to fall in love with the girl, you know.
Yeah.
And there's like a part where they're at the library, and he's like carrying a comically large stack of books, and I was like, does anybody really rent that many at a time? And he's like, ooh, like,
Yeah, I know. And the like,
I'm gonna read all these. It's always like in a movie of like, we have to do as much research as we can on this. Get all the books.
Yeah.
Like, we're not gonna read through them, because in the movies you get to like book 3, here it is,
oh yeah. Well,
and
you
they
know,
never
if
put them
you
back.
you gotta cast a big net,
Hmm. So he's trying to look real learned in front of this girl. She's like, "Oh,
Well,
he
it's
has a
like he
lot
didn't
of
even know she was
books."
there at first.
Yeah.
Because
Then
he
he
comes
saw her. He's like,
walking up and he's like,
"Hey,"
"Oh, I'm gonna go sit with her instead."
and it works. He's got the Tom Hanks charm,
Oh yeah,
that we all know and love. And then like the time progression in this movie is so fast. Like I don't. There's like so many scenes where suddenly it's like months later,
yeah,
maybe, or like like days or like
yeah. Because
years,
their
but like
relationship is like, bam.
yeah, and like it's the montage. And the funniest thing, I'm glad the Forrest Gump run was just how Tom Hanks runs. Because they're like running through the park, and he's got like the one like limp arm kind of a
Oh,
thing.
and
And
he's
it's like
doing
when Forrest
the
is like,
run.
yeah, when Forrest was like running across the country, I was like, well, I'm glad that's just Tom Hanks' run. I thought he was like putting it on, but no, that's just how he runs.
But okay, so like honestly, before like all the Tom Hanks stuff, I really thought it was gonna end up being a story more about that kid.
Oh, JJ?
Yeah,
Yeah, because it starts with him, and like his storyline's so heavy.
yeah,
I thought it was gonna be him and his mom. Like I don't know, his dad's away or his mom's always away, and she does God knows what, but renovate his room apparently is her favorite thing to do.
yeah.
And like, I guess we'll get to it now. I just wanted to talk quickly about like they're eating like grapes and cheese,
Uh-huh.
and like I thought Tom Hanks and her had like boned, but they're just like having a thing. So it's like this sexy plate of grapes, and they're just like sitting there talking. Like they did this shot where it's like this beautiful shot, and it's like you can see the bed behind it. So you're like, oh, I know what happens. And then they're just both sitting there, and then he tells that depressing story
Oh,
about
that
his
yeah,
brother.
yeah.
And I like how
Okay,
it's like their mirrors there, and it's gonna have that cool shot where he's in the mirror. But like that scene,
I liked that
that was
shot actually. I
good.
was like, wow, that's yeah. He
That was
says
a
that, and I was like, whoa.
that was a really good scene, which is cool because like the power in that scene's way better when JJ's like, "I'll just run my motorcycle into a wall, then they'll remember me." No, I'm gonna go into the cave. Like I didn't care about that.
Yeah,
But when Tom Hanks was talking about his brother running away, god damn, that pulled the heartstrings, man.
I know
Like
you're like,
Jesus.
damn, dude. And he was all young, and he gave his brother the money and shit, and it's just like,
And
dude,
if
I
I didn't
think your
give it to
brother was
him,
just like a drug addict and like went to New York and probably
yeah,
died of drugs.
yeah, like which is like kind of cool that he didn't like ever find him
Yeah.
in like New York or anything like that. So it's just like an open-ended thing. But
What I
like
was hoping it was gonna be was a cool fantasy style movie where his brother was like in a different
in the
world.
game,
Yeah.
yeah.
But
He
no.
played it too. I did like his dream sequences where he's like running in a
Yeah.
tunnel, or like the camera's getting like a lens over it. It's like, wait, wait, and it's like all this fogginess, and he's like yelling at his brother Hall.
It sounds like his voice just like lowered slightly.
Yeah, so like later on when it's the Great Hall, it's just Tom Hanks talking like this, which is cool because like in his mind it's
Yeah.
himself, it's like
Yeah.
his self he wants to be. So I was like, well, that's kind of a cool detail.
That was weak when he was like, "Oh, first you gotta do all this stuff and also be
Also, be
celibate." And I'm
celibate. And he's like,
like,
all right,
wow.
yeah, he just dumped me and he said he can't touch me, but he still loves me. Oh, well, that's fine. Men always do this to me. So men always come up to you and go, I can't touch you anymore, but I still love you. This has happened
Yeah,
to you 4 times. Like,
4 or 5 times.
once again, this dude needs fucking help and nobody's talking about it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a breakup. At
Yeah.
that point, I still wasn't really thinking, "Wow, this guy is." At that point,
Yeah.
I was still holding on to that like fun fantasy.
Yeah.
Because I'm sitting here, kid that enjoyed Neverending Story,
And
thinking
that
that
it is
that's
not.
what this is gonna be, and no.
So his first dream sequence is about his brother, and then JJ comes over because apparently he was in love with the girl. I don't know. Apparently we never established that, but um, Robbie answers the door and he's like crushed when he does. He's like, "Come on in, man. She'll be out in a second." He's like, "No, I'm fine." And then that's when he starts talking to his bird about like, "I'll just crash my motorbike in the wall. Actually, I'll go kill myself in the caverns. Then people will remember me." And that storyline is dropped immediately.
Right?
Like he finds the caverns, And then he's like, "Oh, we're gonna play a real life game," which I thought at that point, I'm like, "Oh, he's gonna kill all of his friends and then himself because he's like, we have to die together." So I thought he was gonna set up booby traps and stuff. But no, that storyline of him wanting to like off himself dropped immediately. So I was like, "Oh," because I really thought like he was gonna go crazy and like try to kill
So did
people.
I. Like, I kind of thought, like, okay, well, maybe he's just feeling like a. Well, okay, so my thing was, and this is my guess, because, like, I hadn't. At this point, I'm like, where is this going?
Yeah, exactly.
So, like, he's in there. I'm like, oh, maybe he, like, he's all feeling all down about himself, because I'm, like, trying to figure out, because, again, like, it kind of touches on people's, like, story, but then it just moves on to the next person without, like,
Yeah,
any
it's kind of hard to
context.
tell who this movie is supposed to be about.
Yeah.
But I feel like they put Tom Hanks on the cover because he's like he became a big star.
Yeah.
But like I wish it was about him more. You know,
Yeah. But
like
like, okay, so he goes. What I was thinking is he'll go there and then realize there's some sort of magical crap in that cave or whatever.
yeah,
But
he's like,
no,
guys, we have to go back. You know.
and that's that. Then that's where it started turning into like something completely different. I'm like, wow, okay,
Yeah.
so like he goes and for some reason needs that skeleton.
Well, yeah. Well, that's when he's making the game. So when he first goes, for some reason, he packed this torch that I guess he made. It's like this, Dungeons and Dragons looking torch, and then he lights
Yeah,
it and changes his mind of like, oh, I'm gonna make a real mazes and monsters. But like, he's playing with his friends, and the maze master's like, there's a hole, you can't see what's in it. He's like, oh, my character jumps in it. It's like, well, he died, there's spikes. Oh man, I guess we'll have to start a new game. Like,
like that
we're
was
gonna play a real life mazes and monsters.
like that part was dumb. Like I just like couldn't you just tell your friends like, hey guys, I found this
Mm-hmm.
cave. Do you guys want to check something out?
Yeah.
Because I mean, even though he was like, "Oh, well, we'll just start a new game," and they were like, "Oh, well,
It's gonna take forever to make his level up and his monsters and person like that. It's like, well, this is why you should have a backup character. You always make a backup. Just saying, shit can happen. But like, also like you said, if you wanted to start a new game, just fucking ask your friends.
yeah, you guys have
They'd
been
have been
friends for
okay.
apparently a while."
Yeah. Also, like, I felt bad. Like, Robbie surprises her with like a giant full size bed. It's like, I feel like we could move in together. And she's like, oh, why didn't you talk to me? Because it's just so soon. I'm like, poor guy. So, like, this is not helping his situation
No,
later. So,
like
like,
he's already obviously traumatized from his brother, and
he just,
then
he's trying to do this nice thing
he
and he
pretty much
loves
sinks
you.
like seems to sink everything, all of his feelings, everything into the game. That's
Hmm.
pretty much like his drug.
I think it's his outlet, yeah,
Yeah.
where he's just like, it distracts him, which they could have touched more on that, but they didn't. Hey, it's a TV movie. I think since it's a TV movie, it has to have like a lesson in life.
Was this on
Whatever.
Lifetime?
I don't know if that existed then. Um, so they get to the cave. They all say, I. Um, I like how they have to wear their costumes to the cave. They couldn't just get changed at the cave, so they got to walk out with their costumes on,
Yeah.
like his giant robe and his like tiny knife. And you can tell it's a cave because it's constantly got the
I know it's
noises
such a
going on
windy
in it.
cave,
And you crank up the reverb on their voices so it's echoey as fuck,
but like
and
weird echo. It's like
yeah,
a weird.
like just like I wrote this down because it bothered me. But like anytime she was like JJ, it would like echo 3 times and just cut off. It was
Yeah,
like JJ, 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 and then just cut. I was like, I feel like whatever.
like that's a
Crank up the reverb.
magical echoey cave.
This cave only echoes 3 times. Like, and so like, okay, I know we talked about this in National Treasure, but like every movie does this that has cave systems or underground mines that are abandoned. There's so many cobwebs. Like, do spiders really live in caves and that much of them for you to have to like move a bunch of cobwebs? Like, it's a cold, dark, wet place. I don't
That
imagine a lot of bugs coming in there.
I know there are bugs that live in shit like that, and there are like there are cave spiders and shit
Yeah,
like that. But like that cave, I don't know. And I've totally been in caves, and there's never anything like that.
I've never seen cobwebs
But
and shit.
okay, so I feel like Indiana Jones cave. Remember in like that first
It's
movie?
jungle. It's
It's
hot.
jungle. You can still see daylight from the cave. I can
Yeah,
probably big tarantulas could get in there.
Yeah.
They'll make homes in there. Why not? Deep underground cave like Mazes and
In fucking cold
Monsters.
ass New York. I don't think so.
No,
I don't think so.
no, I don't see that happening. And also, I don't know about like the whole tarantula problem in New York. You know,
Yeah.
I assumed that those webs were like made by pretty big ass spiders.
Yeah. But you got to convey it's a old cave system that they don't use, and so you got cobwebs and bats, and the bats.
And tarantulas. Well, you don't see them.
Tarantulas.
You just see
Yeah.
their what they left behind.
I do love how. So they start playing in the cave. JJ sneaks off and he's like, "Your maze master is always watching you." And they're like, "Oh, okay." And I love how like instantly and stuff that Robbie gets into it, because the skeleton falls down and it's got the flashlight in its mouth, and she's like, "Oh, I'll just check it for clues." He's like, "Beware of the sacrilege." Like
Yeah.
I love that line. I don't know why. Like, "Beware of the sacrilege." Like he's just like
He's
in
like
it
in
from
it.
the start.
I'm like,
you
damn,
know?
okay.
And he's like the only one. Like everyone's like kind of having fun with it, but he's like, "I'm fucking taking this serious, dude." And then they find that language where like the guy's like, "Oh, it's a language that only I could read." Well, then what was it?
Yeah.
Like, what did he write it in?
Oh,
Was
it's
it
cool.
like-
I learned this when I was a kid.
Yeah, it's Sanskrit. For some reason, I know it, and JJ knows that I know it, so I wrote it in that. Like, why? What did he write it in that only this guy knew? Was it like,
It was Elvish.
Elvish?
He knows
Because I
Elvish.
read Lord of the Rings. This is from Tolkien.
Like,
And he says that.
I
later on.
know.
Like, I know you're probably supposed to say it like that, but I don't know. From the Midwest, where it's Tolkien, not Tolkien.
oh man,
And then, like, what was with the rice on the ground?
that was
like
to,
a quick
that was like
second.
a
She's like,
trailer. That was the
and
trail to like.
she's like, "Oh, I think I found the herb," and it's like, it's rice. And no, it's to find our way back. Well, who sprinkled it? Did JJ do this, or
I would
did
assume
somebody have
that.
a pocket
Well,
full of
because
rice?
he had a map of the cave that
That's
he left
true,
on
yeah.
the for the cops that are very obviously on to them.
Oh, they know. Yeah, I'll get that part. We'll get to that later because that's one of my big gripes with this fucking movie. So, but in the meantime, they all split up, which is the dumbest idea.
And even
Even Robbie doesn't want
Yeah.
to. He's like, "No, I don't think we should." Like, "No, it's a great idea."
what are you
And it's like,
scared?
"Oh, I'm
Yes.
not scared of nothing. We're in a fucking cave system. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm scared. But then, yeah, JJ's like, "A monster, a monster," and then this is when his like fucking psychosis kicks in, and he sees that monster, which is kind of cool looking. I'm like,
Yeah.
"That thing's fucking sick," you know. All right.
See, but then I kind of thought like, okay, is someone like fucking with him? Because I mean, it's very obviously a
Yeah.
person in a suit. So I'm
That's,
thinking
yeah,
like,
what I kind of thought too. Like, did
You know.
Robbie hire somebody, or JJ, did he hire somebody? And
and then I kind of thought
Or is
maybe
it
it's
him?
JJ in the suit,
yeah,
and then he stabs it. So I was like, oh,
the scream that he's doing too. He's like,
I know.
"Help me, help me!" I was like, "Oh, Jesus Christ!"
like he's
And
gonna
he just,
literally
like,
get like
"Ah."
eaten. I was like, damn,
Yeah.
dude.
And then nobody thinks twice of it when they come running in after he stabs. He's like, "I slayed the monster," and it shows like nothing there.
Yeah.
Like, maybe it's just because it's us or anything, but if like our friend were to do that, I'm like, "Okay, are you
What-
okay, dude?
I'm
Like,
like,
we
what
need
monster? What are you talking about, man? I was just, it's
Like-
part of the game. I thought we were all.
We're done playing the game. Do you really see something there? Because if you do, we need to talk.
I'm not talking to that person. I'm like, we're gonna go drop
We need
you
some
off
help. We need
at
to
your
get
house, and
Yeah,
I'm gonna talk to your parents. Just let them know
we
what's
kinda-
going on with you.
we kind of fucked him up. So
Yeah,
have
like
at it.
he already had PTSD apparently, and we made it a
We
lot
just made it worse. So, our bad. But it was in that moment that Robbie died and Purdue was born.
Pretty much.
So
Pretty much.
I do like how they made, like, she says that cheesy fucking line. I don't know if it's in, I think it's in the cave. It's like paper mache, however Jay said it. But she's like, "The scariest monsters are the ones in our mind." It's like, whoa.
Whoa, dude, that's so deep.
How deep, lady? Because you have so many. Because, like, "Oh, I don't love men. I want to write books, and
Well,
but
what was it?
divorce."
She basically just talks about how she has like daddy issues, like, every guy leaves in my life. First, starting with my dad.
My
And I was like,
father.
wow.
Oh,
And then,
that's the monster in my mind.
like, wow, dude, okay. I
And she
think
even says it. So
what
like,
kind of pisses me off after like seeing it and knowing that it felt like sort of an anti D&D movie. It's just like, no, what you're doing is you're making it seem like all these kids are fucking delinquents, and it's lame. Like, yeah, of
and
course
they're
a person that had parents leave them would play Dungeons and Dragons cuz
yeah,
evil. You know,
yeah,
and I'm just like,
exactly.
fuck you.
Yeah, and it's like all these kids with fucking problems. They have to escape to a game. Like, you know
Oh,
what?
maybe they are escaping and they're with their
That's
friends and they're using their
yeah,
imaginations. Like, you guys are dicks.
yeah. Like they're just having a fucking fun time, and like sometimes we need to escape from reality and have a good fucking
I
time.
mean,
But
we're
we're not
not.
like getting so involved into it where I'm playing that character in real life and like murdering people because I think the demons, you know, like.
Yeah, we're not
And if I am,
Purdue,
that's a
man.
fucking serious problem. Like that
Yes,
person needs to
and
have like
it
some.
has nothing to do with the game itself.
No, like they just
Has everything to
need
do with that
mental
person
help.
that's got a brain that needs
Yeah.
help.
So then he has the dream from the Great Hall.
Was that the one where he
Where
tells him to be
becomes
celibate?
celibate, yeah. And so then he breaks up with her, and there's that scene where her and the blonde dude, which apparently that's when they fall in love. But they're talking about.
Like,
She's like,
really, that was quick
I
too.
don't, I don't. He's like, do you miss him or do you want him back? And she says no, and he does this like
I know.
smile.
Like,
And it's like
nice.
this like weird sexy music playing in the background, like this saxophone. And
Yeah.
like, were we playing this at a bar? Like, why is this movie playing? But
They like jazz. It's a
yeah,
rich kid's school.
yeah, we like
I
jazz. We're
mean,
like,
did you notice that every time like that kid had a party, like it was
it's
always
just like
some like
jazz music and
weird.
like
Like the first one was like almost like a 20s style like jazz.
yeah. And then like what Robbie and what's her name are listening to, and JJ comes over. It's like this like rock and roll jazzy stuff. Like I don't know if it's like music that composer made or if it was just like royalty free music that the channel was able to do. Like and like okay, that's when the blonde kid's giving his poor me speech. He's like, I feel like Spock because I felt like I was incapable of love. And she's like, you're not like Spock. You're like the Tin Man. I was like, I don't think that's better. It's like,
No, no.
but you knew you had a heart. I'm like,
Like
you could
he
just
thought
say,
he didn't have a heart, but he had it the whole time. The biggest one of all.
I was always so scared to ask you out because you're so beautiful and handsome. I'm like, is he though?
Yeah, he's got
Is he attractive?
he's got that nice chiseled chin though, just like
That
square.
beautiful blonde parted in the middle hair. Or no, it was just like a bowl cut.
Yeah, it was like a
But
82.
then again,
Mm.
there's another time jump because suddenly it's a Halloween party. They're together.
Tom Hanks doesn't give a
Oh
good
no, there's that
goddamn.
part where Daniel goes to the cave to try to sneak
Oh,
to
that's
find out where the
right.
treasure was, and then she finds him there. And that's when they make out in the car. Pointless scene,
Yeah.
other than to get them in a vehicle together to make out. But like, there was no need for that. Like, if anybody would have been sneaking in that cave, it should have been like Robbie.
Yeah.
But for some reason, Daniel's like, I tried to cheat. Oh, okay, let's make out now. Ow,
I didn't make it. I
ow.
didn't understand that. I'm like, you really think he
Yeah.
hid like a treasure in there? And after you found
Yeah.
it, like they're gonna be like, dude, why did you do that? We're just playing the game.
Yeah.
Like, way to fuck
And
it
then,
up
like,
for everybody. You
so if
turd.
you were to find it and I didn't come find you and we played the game next, you're like, treasure's over here. You'd be like, how'd you find it so fast? Maybe he just
totally
wanted the game to
cheat.
end, like, and he's like, I just want to find the treasure so we have to stop playing in that gross fucking cold cave.
Yeah, we can go back to actually mazes and
Yeah.
monsters because it's not our fault that stupid idiot jumped in the fucking
Yeah.
pit.
So then, yeah, it's that time jump. They're having the Halloween party at
and
JJ's.
and like, what's with the
Listening.
like Frankenstein's monster guy coming?
Yeah, and
Who was
that
that?
guy was never shown before. And like I don't know if he was like a jock or something. He's like, "Hey, this is a Halloween party. You just dressed as yourself." And they're like, very funny, JJ." I'm like, "Who is this man?
Yeah, I know. I was
Who
like,
is this
oh,
man?
was this guy playing games with them or
And is he gonna like beat JJ up because he looks like a big guy?" Never shown again.
no? Like, I think you see him dancing around in the party,
Yeah.
and that's it.
And then poor Robbie just sitting there as a holy man after he's given all his possessions. He says, like bless you or whatever,
Yeah.
peace be with you to people, and like once again, oh, he's fine. He's just playing the
He's
game.
fine. Then he just goes wandering out to take a nap. I
Yeah,
guess like
a sweaty nap where he sees the. And like, why would he go to the party to begin with? Why would a
I
holy
know.
man want to go there unless he was like going there to say goodbye? But he has that dream where he has like with the Great Hall. I have the right line written down. Oh, and it's like, why do you want? Oh, that was I think it was the dream before. And he's like, Robbie, why are you wanting this so bad? He's like, because I want you to love me. And I was like, oh.
I know. I
And then
was
you
like,
find out later it's like about his brother. I was like, oh, that's even
I
sadder.
know. It's like, and then I'm
Yeah.
like thinking, how old were you when this all happened?
Oh, it's because I love you and I want you to forgive me. And I was like, huh.
Forgive
And then
you,
like
like,
later on when I didn't get it was Great Hall and his brother was Hall. I was
yeah,
like, oh man, this guy's really going through some shit, man.
yeah, I know. And then that's like then is like what I kind of started like wondering, like, how old were you when your brother did all this shit? Like, how
Yeah,
young were you?
yeah. Like how
It's like
recent was this?
it. You must have been pretty young, but old enough to remember that you really, really looked up to your brother.
Yeah, and old enough to have money, I guess like an
Yeah,
allowance or whatever.
yeah,
But like, yeah, like that was this guy had fucking problems, and it's
yeah.
not the game's fault. It's his fucking shit friend's fault, whatever.
Well, and
But he
the
had a
past childhood trauma apparently that his
and his
parents
drunk mother.
and his parents don't give a fuck about the other kid.
Oh, you're just drunk again, aren't you?
I hate it
Oh,
when you're drinking.
okay.
Always drinking. God, I hate when you're
Always
drinking.
drinking. And then when they like call his mom later after Robbie's leaving, she's like, "Hey, what's up?" She's like got a wine or whatever in her
Yeah,
hand, and it's like, okay, why are we making her drunk?
yeah.
It's not
What?
because we didn't say like, oh, because her son's missing or anything like that. It's just like drunk mom.
She does it to get through the day.
So, in the dream, the Great Hall was like, you need to find the underground city and the two towers. And they find the map after Robbie, and they go to his like dorm and
Yeah,
they look at the map. Maybe I don't know why they didn't put these together, but instantly in my mind, because like the two towers, and I was like, oh, they're in New York. It's the
yeah.
Twin Towers.
That's what I thought. I was like, oh, the Twin Towers. I'm
Like
like, oh
instant.
man, they weren't gone yet. That's what I thought. I was like,
Ooh,
oh,
ooh, too soon.
like
Um,
that's instantly what I thought. I was like, oh, the Twin
yeah,
Towers. I'm like, oh,
yeah,
damn.
because like it's called. They say the two towers, and it's like,
No,
oh, that's
that's
Tolkien.
Tolkien.
And I was like, no, that's you guys live in New York. It's the World Trade Center. It's Twin Towers. Like,
No,
how are you not
it's
getting
very
this? I
obviously Tolkien.
wonder where Robbie could be. Oh, he's probably in the caves again. Whoa, whoa,
And I'm like,
whoa.
and this girl has like insight to this. He told you that like his brother left to fucking New York.
And you're just like, I wonder where we. So obviously, you, like, just instantly forgot everything about him. And then this is when my problem with the movie starts. I had a minor problem with it before, but this is when his friends become biggest pieces of shit. They hide all the evidence that they were part of the cave system, that they played with it. They lie about playing. They don't say that they played with him. They're like, oh yeah, he played with somebody else. He had mentioned that.
Yeah.
So that they don't look guilty and that the cops don't be like, you played those. Like, you are literally the reason this dude is missing. And you're like, we've never played with him. Like, they're fucking covering it up. I was so
I know. I'm
pissed.
like, wow, dude, you guys act like you
Like,
give a shit about your friend, and then
and here
you
you are
like
trying to cover your
casually
ass.
like cover it up. And the fact that they're just like, well, we're not gonna figure anything out. Let's just go to bed. It's
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
do you give a fuck about him or not?
You
Like,
guys go to the police and they're like, man, it's the cave systems, whatever. I guess we'll check it out. Like, it just instantly made me mad because, like, these kids knew that they fucked up. And
mhm.
instead of just telling the truth and helping the cops out, they get rid of all the evidence and just fucking lie and then make their friend look crazier. And
Yeah.
they look so innocent about this. And fucking pissed me off. And I was like, yeah, great group of friends. Yeah, fuck you guys.
Yeah, first
And
you
it's like they
force
don't.
him to do this, you fucking
Yeah.
screw his brain up even harder than it already is, and now you're lying to the cops and he's wandering around. And
Yeah.
I'm a new,
He,
like, I'm, okay, they're in college. How long have
yeah.
they been in college? Or what, are they all like 17? He's some 17-year-old, like, schizophrenic kid
Yeah.
walking around New York.
And he can't remember shit.
Yeah.
Because there's parts where he comes to, and then he calls like, I don't know how I got here. I don't know what's
There's
going
fucking
on.
blood
Like,
on my hands and shit. Like, yeah. The
and
poor
here you
dude's...
guys are lying to the cops about like, oh, we never played with him. I played it a couple times, but he played with other people. Who'd he play with? Well, I don't know. Yeah, I was so fucked up. But the cool like so then they come up with a brilliant idea of like, oh, let's give our map of the cave systems because I was so proud of the map I drew. I
Like,
didn't want to
oh
give
my
it up.
God. Like, when you said that, I was like, dude.
So then they sneak to the crime scene and they put it, and he has this clever disguise of being an aviator.
Yeah.
His scarf and his aviator cap.
Yeah, because,
Which, like,
that's super incognito.
but what I thought was cool is that the beginning of the movie was the middle of the movie. Like, it was the cop searching the cave, and I was like, oh, it's like,
Yeah.
Some kid was lost, and then we're going to get to this group. But, like, that's the middle of the movie, because it's them searching for Robbie in the cave. I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. All right, that's fucking cool to start like that. But, yeah, that's when they sneak the map, put it on his thing, they talk to him the next day, and, like, the cop... I like how the detective's honest. He's like, we don't have one idea where he is, but somebody put a map on my windshield.
Yeah, somebody. I feel like
Oh.
he knows that they, like, played
Oh,
together,
yeah.
but he doesn't suspect that they killed him or anything.
Yeah, and I was just like, and I like his candidness, his like honesty of like, if he is in that cave, he's fucking dead.
Again, and that, like, knowing the whole, like, it's just like, oh, well, that's what happens if you're a dummy and you play games like that. You end up dead, and the cops are like, well, he's probably dead. We're not looking for him anymore.
He
I
should have
hated
been just studying in college.
That's the fucking message that pisses me off with this. And it's same with, like, the kid's mom being, like, drunk when she answers the phone. Well, he wouldn't be, wanting to do extracurricular Dungeons and Dragons games if his mom wasn't a big old drunkard. That's why he's a bad kid. He's a bad kid.
It's just written by people who are scared and like just ignorant and just I don't know. It's just
bored.
It's bored, and they're probably like really bitter that they never got invited to play D&D. So like, I'm
Oh my God.
book about how D&D's bad.
Like, as far as I know, back in the 80s, kids got made fun of for that shit. If you were a jock in high school and you were bitching about, like, not getting to play D&D now, well,
yeah,
fuck you. That's your fault.
And what's at least with I don't want to talk for all kids who play D&D.
Yeah.
But, like, it is a very welcoming game.
Seriously.
Like, if you were to show interest, like, hey, I want to play, they'd be like, fucking come aboard.
Yeah.
We'll teach you.
I've
They're
not
gonna be
once
like,
heard
"Oh, no, dude."
I've not once had anybody be like, oh, man, I like if someone brings up D&D, I'm like,
You're
oh,
not
I'm
part
really
of
into
a
it. They're like,
group.
hey, man, if you ever want to play,
Yeah.
we can always use another person. I've never
So,
once
like,
had someone go like, well, we've got plenty of people, so look elsewhere.
And so that's why I hated this whole, like, satanic panic era of, like, they're a cult and they're worshiping Satan and they don't care about nobody else. It's like,
Yeah.
they're just having fun.
Like, no,
They're
they're
kids
they're
who
playing
get-
a game.
They're kids who get picked on, they're just having a fun time, you know? Like,
It's
and
like
if you
they
ask them
can
to play-
escape the reality and they don't have to get picked on because they're just in a cool group like killing fake
Yeah.
monsters. It's awesome.
It's fun. So Robbie's in New York. They finally get the idea when they're like, Twin Towers. Ooh.
Well, they still don't
And
know.
And they like,
They just
oh,
go
he's
to
in
New York. They still don't know even when they finally make it to New York.
Oh, that's right, because that's when they're in JJ's house. Is
And
when
I'm
they finally
like,
come
how
up
do
to
you
Twin
guys
Towers.
still not know?
So, like, they're like, what would a holy man do? Oh, he'd go on a quest. Yeah, no shit.
Yeah,
He's gonna go on a quest. You fucking dummies. Like, the detectives are way better than you. So, like, Robbie's in New York, and those gangster, punk guys chase him. It's like, what's in the bag? He's like, these are my spells. I guard them with my life. And then, like, gets chased, and he's got his little gem, his geode.
Yeah.
And, like, just straight up fucking stabs a guy.
Yeah.
And, like, you don't know he's dead. He's still, like, getting up, and,
I don't.
like, he runs
I don't
away.
think it was a fatal cut.
It's like
I
in
think
the
he.
side.
I think he poked him a little bit because the way the guy was
Yeah.
like kind of like looking at it, like he didn't see any blood. He's like, oh, dude, fuck
Yeah,
you.
he was more
I wasn't
just, like-
expecting that. Okay,
Yeah,
sorry.
He's more just kind of put off by it. Like,
Yeah.
God damn it, dude. Like, what the fuck? That's not fair.
Yeah, dude, I didn't think
But
you were
yeah,
gonna
and he had
stab me.
And what was cool was, like, it was just, like, a switch knife.
Yeah.
You know, you just pull it out. But when Robbie was seeing the monster, it was his dagger.
Yeah.
From Pruitt or whatever, Purdue.
Yeah.
And like when it would switch back, it was his like regular knife and everything like that. There's like pretty fucking cool aspects of this movie. The
and
fantasy
that,
parts.
Like the fantasy part and the part and like the fact that at this point you know that he's got an issue.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, man, this like it's hard. It like that made it more sad to watch that part. And I was
really
like,
did.
man, the poor dude. Like, and then these guys, and they don't know like what's going on with him, but like, not that they would even care, regardless. Because I mean, it's 1980s New York.
And they just wanted to steal his bag of spells.
Yeah, even though they probably would have been like, "What the hell is this?" and still not
wanted it. A bunch of fucking
it.
rocks in here and dice. What is this?
But yeah, and I think that's what kind of pisses me off about, again, the anti D&D thing, because it's just like, oh, now you're kind of targeting people that might have an issue, you know, and it doesn't necessarily have to be Mazes and Monsters or D&D to set them off, you know.
No. And it's like these people need help, like
Yeah.
not just like to be like, well, must be Satan.
Yep, it's probably Satan.
Yeah.
See if this kid's parents were good, if he was a good kid, you know, if he wouldn't have given to his brother money as a juvenile and let him run off to do drugs in New York and totally
This
die,
wouldn't
obviously.
be happening to him. But like, so then yeah, Robbie comes out. He comes to and he has blood on his knife in his hands. Calls that girl, and he's like, "I'm in New York," and they're like, "Oh, okay." She's like, "Go to JJ's house. It's here." And he's like, "Oh, okay." And then has another, like, obviously not there, and is just wandering around. And then that's where he sees another group of guys that look like those guys, and he has that flash, and then he runs into the subway system where he starts going through. He's like, the maze.
That part where he called his friends, too, was sad.
That was, like, once again, primo acting from Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
Like, that was like, I don't know where I am. I have blood on my hands. I'm just
like, damn, dude. That's scary. Because, like, yeah, he goes and he's, like, standing in front of that window. And he's, like, looking, like, and then it kind of comes to him, like, what the fuck did I just do? Like, he's looking and he's like, oh, my, like, shit.
And that's, like, what's sad is that he doesn't remember.
Yeah.
And, yeah. And it's great because it's, like, very accurate New York where you're like, you see a guy standing with blood on his hands, keep walking.
Yeah.
Not my fucking problem. Nope.
Pretty much.
Keep going. This is just a normal Tuesday for us. Just keep walking.
And then he calls his friends, and they tell him to meet him. And, like, don't they even go, like, no, because he wakes her up at night. Do they go back to bed and then just leave in the morning?
No, I think they're getting ready or something. But I guess it takes them forever. I don't know how far away, but it's just them driving. They get there by, like, the morning. And he slips into another, like, psychosis, so he doesn't go to JJ's. Or I think he's on his way, and then he sees those guys, and that's when it triggers again. And then he starts running away.
Yeah.
And he's going through the mazes to find the treasure and the dragon, which, like, that was another terrifying thing. Was, like, when the trains were going overhead, he's, like, freaking out, you know? And it's like, I mostly just felt sad and sorry for Robbie at this point in the movie. And I was like, he needs fucking help. Like,
this poor guy. Yeah.
Meanwhile, they're like, you know, going to JJ's house. And he's like, my room is so cool now. It looks like Casablanca. My mom is so cool because they're rich and happy and she's not an alcoholic. And oh boy, I have everything in life. Like,
oh yeah, we're looking for our friend. Like our friend, he's having a breakdown. We're looking for our friend. That's right.
Oh, and apparently JJ has a photographic memory because he draws Robbie's map, like, from memory. And, like, this looks just like Robbie's map.
And that was never talked about either.
No. Like, what did the map do? The map wasn't of New York City. It wasn't of anything.
Yeah, so it was an unnecessary map.
Yeah. The only thing that was worth of it on the top was it just said the 2 towers. That's it.
And Tolkien.
That's from Tolkien, obviously. The 2 towers, that's Tolkien. I do like the part where he, like, runs into the homeless guy.
Yeah.
And he's like, I am Purdue, the holy man. He's like, I'm the king of France. And, like, when he gets down, he's like, Your Majesty. And, like, that's when, like, the homeless guy's like, all right, this guy's crazier than me.
Yeah.
Shit. And just, like, kind of goes along with it in a way of just, like, you know, where's the dragon? And he's like, I wouldn't go up there, kid. And, you know,
they'll throw you out.
They'll throw you out, yeah. It's like, do you know where the 2 towers are? I was like, oh, yeah, I know where that's at. I'll send you over, dude.
Yeah, because then you're creeping me out, kid.
Yeah.
Just let me be homeless and alone down here, all right?
Yeah, okay. I like that, yeah.
But also,
But then,
still sad. Like, it was still
yeah,
sad.
like it's just that movie got sad, and I was just like, fuck, man, poor Robbie. And then they come to the dumb final realization. It's the Twin Towers, so they're on their way there. Robbie's on his way there.
And
And
then
like,
I was waiting
what
for
if they went
the.
into the wrong one?
I know, I was thinking that too.
There's two of them. So like,
And
you know.
honestly, like, through all that scene, I was waiting for the Benny Hill music to start playing. Because they're just like up and down, and then they see him up there, and then they go back up, but they're like pushing through people every time and
Yeah.
pushing through
And then
people
what
every
I
time
like,
down. I'm like,
they see him walking on the balcony this way,
yeah,
right? They get up to the top of the stairs, like, where'd he go? I'm like, you know, he went right.
yeah,
You saw him.
yeah.
So go
I
right
saw
to
him.
the balcony. You guys were yelling, Robbie, which you should have yelled Purdue. You know, he's in this state of mind right now.
Yeah,
But yeah, then they go up. They go up to the observation deck. Robbie's still not there. They go back down. They see him, like you said, Benny Hill. Then he gets into an elevator. So then they get into an elevator, and then they're back up top. And the emergency exit that only goes off like 3 times.
see,
And
and that
stops.
was another thing. I'm like, and apparently security doesn't give a shit.
Like any emergency exit, you trigger it. It keeps going off until you use a key to turn it off.
So I'm just gonna chalk it up to it was the '80s.
They're like, no one's gonna go up there, and if they do, who gives a shit? It's
Even though
fucking New York,
this
baby.
the roof is closed, but they're gonna get up there anyway.
I was kind of expecting them to like get on the roof and then look over somehow and see Robbie in the other tower, and they just go, "Oh boy," you know, kind of thing. We gotta get going.
Which would have been pretty funny since they saw him in the one they were in.
Yeah. Like, oh, whoops! Hey, we're in the wrong one. We're dumb.
But I mean, like,
for-
and then they make it up there, and like
And Robbie's
that's
on
the
his way to
scene that
jump
you
off.
that's the scene that you sent me. And
Yeah,
what's funny,
thank you, Andrew.
what's funny is in that when you sent me, I didn't expect what. I didn't know the context of the scene.
Yeah, like I thought it was gonna be kind of goofy, and I was like, oh man, like you know, they're whatever.
And-
He's like in the fantasy world.
Yeah, and no, he's about to fucking like hop off one of the twin towers, and it's a lot more sad than that. And yeah, they save him.
And then like yeah, then JJ has to get into character, be the maze monster. And he's like, no, you're maze master. He's like, you can't do it. I'm the maze master. I have say over all. And then like he clicks too. He's like, oh JJ, what am I doing here? And I was like
Like,
he
dude,
made me like want to cry
yeah,
because he's such a good actor, and it's just so fucking sad. I can't say this enough, people. Like this whole storyline with Robbie is just fucking heartbreaking.
sad.
Like
it's sad, and if you take out the satanic panic like D&D bullshit, it's actually pretty cool. Like,
yeah,
because
yeah.
I could deal with a movie about a kid who has some you know, like some sort of psychosis or, you know, some mental issues over it's a satanic panic game and these kids are killing each other because of the game. It's about the game.
Yeah.
You know.
And I also hated the fact that the kids like covered up their involvement with it.
Yeah.
Just so like they didn't get in trouble. Like
I could see kids doing that, unfortunately, but maybe not
these
college
are like
kids.
yeah, these are fucking rich.
Like
if
they
to
were
a fancy college.
if they were in like high school, I could see them acting like that. But also, I see the detective just seeing right through their BS.
Oh yeah, like dude, fucking confront them about it.
Yeah.
So they save Robbie. It goes to a 3 months later, which apparently in this 3 months time, all 3 of them become wildly successful. She manages to write a book in 3 months that's published, exploiting the story, by the way, folks, of what happened to Robbie. She's like, oh, you know, us playing the game and then the horrible thing that happened to Robbie. And, you know, us conquering our fears. What fucking fears?
Seriously.
You guys had 0 fears to this movie. You just wrote a book about what happened to Robbie, and now you're getting published and rich. And then the other guy's like, oh, I'm so happy that I'm going to be I love to do stuff with computers. I forgot about that the whole storyline. And now I'm like in charge of computers. And then the guy in the back who wanted to be an actor, oh, he's doing directing stage plays or some shit.
Oh, God.
Everyone gets a fucking happy ending.
Yeah.
Until you go to Robbie's parents' house.
And there you
And they're
go.
like, how's he doing? Oh, he's great. He still has to see the doctor. Oh, he's out back. And you go up to him in character.
Yeah.
Permanently Purdue. And that was the saddest thing I saw.
Yeah. And it, again, still pushes that stupid fucking narrative of
Mm-hmm.
like how D&D is evil. Well, these kids quit. They got out
And
of
look how
it. Look
successful
how
they are.
successful they are. But one kid, sometimes you just don't make it out.
And he's forever stuck in the game. Like, part of me really wanted him to be joking
I know. I so
when he's
bad
like,
like
"Gotcha,"
I know.
like
I
laughing
wanted
at him.
yeah.
But that's not the ending I got. That's not the ending I got.
No.
Yeah, like it was, and it went on like too long.
Yeah.
That whole part, and he's like talking to JJ. He's like, "Oh, you didn't die. You must have been resurrected." And oh, blah blah blah. This place, the innkeeper. I have this coin that you might want. It's the forever returning coin. I leave it on the desk and the innkeepers, and then every night it's back in my pouch and everything.
Yeah.
And oh, these innkeepers and this beautiful lake that's enchanted and this evil forest over there. And it was just like. And then they went along with it for their one last time playing, which that means they went out to the woods and put Robbie out of his misery, like
Yeah.
fucking Lenny from Of Mice and Men.
Yeah.
It was our last time playing, and we stopped seeing him because he's a fucking crazy psycho, even though it's our fault. And his mom's like, I don't blame you guys for what you do. I do. It's
I know, I
literally
do
your
too.
guys' fucking fault.
Seriously.
If you would have cooperated with the cops, would have found him a lot faster, and you could have been like, he needs help. It's your fucking fault he got involved in the game. It's your fault that you pushed him over the edge. It's your fault you didn't notice these fucking problems with him. It's your fault that you hid all the evidence, and now you're like, oh, poor Robbie. And the mom's like, oh, it's not your fault.
It's cool.
It's
I
just
don't blame
his
you
dumb
guys.
fault.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
I
just
do.
wouldn't quit. I told him to quit, and he
Fuck
wouldn't
you
do it.
guys. It's all your fault.
Yeah.
Literally all your fault. I don't know. The important thing, though, is he's gonna be okay.
Is he though?
Is he? Ladies and gentlemen, if you are enjoying this and would like to enjoy other things such as this, other nerdy things, where do you go?
You're gonna head on down to projectnerd.com. That's project-nerd.com. And you're gonna find us. You're gonna find all kinds of other fun nerdy things to watch.
Mazes and Monsters, Dungeons and Dragons, cosplay, all that stuff. It's there.
It's there. It's just waiting for you. It's a click away, so to speak.
I don't know. Let's just get into it. All right.
All right.
I haven't really thought about it, but I love aspects of this movie. Yes, it is a made-for-TV movie. Yes, it's got a really weird, jazzy, does not fit with the movie soundtrack. Tom Hanks is phenomenal. All of his parts are great. I liked some of the cool things of like the middle of the movie was the beginning of the movie, the cool shit like that. Hated the friends, hated the end. I'm gonna give it maybe a 6.8 holy men. Holy men. Whatever Tom Hanks was produced. I was trying to do something funny there, folks. I couldn't think of anything. That's my score. I'm sticking to it.
Huh. Yeah. Other than like the very obvious like anti D&D stuff going on in this, again, like you said, Tom Hanks killed it. It was fantastic. He's a phenomenal actor. It's got cool stuff about it. Like there's a cool idea in there, but it's poorly executed, I guess. Because like again, with what Dylan said, hated the friends and stuff. But I mean, I can deal with the backstabbing friends maybe if they're younger.
Yeah.
Didn't make a whole lot of sense being in college and being okay if they're rich maybe.
Yeah. They're rich white kids. They can get away with anything.
But yeah, and then the ending. Again, cool stuff, poorly executed. I think could have been cooler. Maybe if a different director did it. Maybe if it had a better budget. Maybe if it wasn't like propaganda.
Yeah.
6 crappy friends. Like I don't know.
I don't know the rating system, people.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like the like it's a bummer, but it's not at the same time.
Yeah, like it's enjoyable. There's parts that I disagree with heavily. Like as a person who plays D&D, did not like that part about anti D&D. But I do like the idea of like this kid having like severe, problems from his like brother disappearing and like getting trapped in this world, and like it'd have been a lot better if his friends tried to help him out of it
Yeah.
in their own way of like, hey, if we kind of like guide him through with using mazes and monsters, we can like maybe help him with his problems. He'll have a breakthrough and he'll be better.
You know.
Instead of being like, oh, we fucked up, let's hide the evidence. He's fucked. But hey,
And,
we're good. I
and
wrote a
that would
book.
have been a cooler ending. You know.
Yeah.
You know. Hey guys, thanks for helping me out of that. I really appreciate
Yeah.
it. You know. I was.
Like, let's use the power of mazes and monsters and imagination to help Robbie get over the loss of his brother and
Yeah.
the guilt.
Yeah.
That'd have been a cooler thing. Instead of them fucking up, hiding the evidence and going, oh, well, Robbie's fucked.
Yeah. For the rest of his life.
Yeah.
And then they capitalize on it.
Yep. I wrote a book. You're a director. You do shit with computers. Like, I think, like, I know the book was, written for the purposes of saying, this is dangerous and bad, kids using imagination and playing board games. But,
Yeah.
like, if they were to just go off that idea of Robbie slipping and then them trying to help him, that would have been fucking cool. I would have loved that movie.
Yeah.
Because then, A, you still would get great fucking acting from Tom Hanks, but then you could get, like, a cool storyline of, like, hey, with the power of imagination,
Yeah.
friendship,
Yeah.
you can overcome any problems.
Yeah.
That's a better fucking...
You can help your friends out. You know, instead
Yeah.
of totally screwing them over.
Yeah.
You know, because if they were in college, it's like, oh, you're gonna get expelled. Fuck it, dude. You're
We're rich. You can get back in. You can do another college.
yeah, go to a different one.
Obviously, you were worried about being expelled for, like, a hot minute going in the caves, and now you're like, oh, whatever.
Yeah.
Oh shit, Robbie's missing. We're gonna get expelled again.
Yeah,
Instead of
double
worrying about
expelled.
our friend probably dying, oh, the dean's gonna be all over our asses,
Yeah.
even though he's not shown once, and there's no repercussions. Like, nothing's ever threatened of like, if any kids are playing mazes and monsters, you'll get kicked out. They never say anything like that. So they're
School
worried about
doesn't care.
nothing. Yeah. As long as you pay your tuition for your fucking books, they don't give a shit.
Like, we're
They
playing
don't even
mazes
care
and
if they're
monsters
teaching
with
you right.
Robbie. They're like, mazes and what? Who?
What the fuck is that? Who's Robbie? But go check it out, folks. If it sounds like your thing,
I mean, it's free.
it's free. Check it out. It's a free show with ads, whatever.
Yeah.
Thank you, Andrew, for the recommendation and the viewer's choice. Yeah, and that's the end of that. For Two Guys, One Film, I have been Dylan.
And I'm still currently Dane.
We'll catch you next week, partners.
Bye-bye.